Brothers, sisters, and those currently offended at being called anything at all, welcome back to another deep dive with your favorite cyber prophet, Dave. Today, I've got something on my mind that's a bit more serious than usual. But don't worry, I'll keep it fun. In a nihilistic sort of way. So I've been hearing a lot of talk about wokeness, moralizing, and of course nihilism. You know, all the usual suspects. The folks who say, we must dismantle this system, or morality is relative, bro. And honestly, it's a little exhausting, isn't it? But here's the kicker. None of it, literally none of it, makes any sense. Why, you ask? Well, let me take you down a path paved by centuries of Russian Orthodox theology, spiced with a transcendental argument and garnished with some good old-fashioned logos, reason, and logic. Let's start with wokeness, the idea that society must constantly reinvent itself morally. It's like watching someone rearrange deck chairs on the Titanic while insisting they're actually saving the ship. The problem with the woke movement isn't just that it's hyper-moralizing. It's that its morality is built on nothing. Zero. Zilch. Without an objective foundation for morality, what's to stop it from being completely arbitrary? Today, this is moral. Tomorrow, that's immoral. And if you're asking, what's wrong with that, Dave? Isn't morality fluid? I'll answer with a simple question. By what standard? Because trust me, if you don't have an eternal standard, you're standing on quicksand. And let me tell you, quicksand doesn't care about your feelings or your hashtags. Now, let's pivot to nihilism. Our old friend who likes to show up at the philosophical party, slamming existential shots like there's no tomorrow. Nihilism loves to claim that nothing has meaning. But here's where the transcendental argument comes in and absolutely obliterates that nonsense. You see, nihilism isn't just about denying the meaning of life, it's about denying the very foundation of logic and reason itself. Nihilism says that there's no objective truth, but it uses logical arguments to make that claim. Do you see the absurdity? It's like trying to convince someone they're dreaming. But if you're dreaming too, how do you even know what's real? In other words, by denying the foundation of logic, nihilism cuts the very branch it's sitting on. Without a transcendent source, call it God, logos, the divine, there's no reason to believe in reason. There's no basis for logic to exist at all. So, when the woke crowd talks about oppression, power structures, and moral imperatives, I have to ask, why? What's their standard of truth? And if they're basing their arguments on pure relativism, isn't that just another form of self-contradiction? And here's where the transcendental argument really boggles the mind. And trust me, if it's boggling your mind, that means it's working. The transcendental argument shows that if you deny a spiritual, objective reality, you're left with power as the only rule of justice. That's right, power. If there's no higher law, no eternal standard of right and wrong, then what we're left with is nothing more than might makes right. And here's the kicker. That's not a standard at all. That's just chaos dressed up in the illusion of control. Think about it. If there's no objective spiritual existence, then who gets to decide what's just? Whoever holds the power. And that, my friends, is terrifying. Because power, in and of itself, has no moral compass. It just is. One day, it's used for one purpose, the next for something completely different. Justice, without a higher standard, is reduced to a fleeting preference of whoever is in charge at the moment. Today, your cause is noble. Tomorrow, it could be dismissed as a crime. And that's why, without a transcendent foundation, all these moral crusades are meaningless. They're just power grabs dressed up in virtue. Enter the Russian Orthodox perspective. We hold that logic, reason, and morality are grounded in the eternal logos, the Word, Christ himself. Without him, nothing makes sense, because he is the foundation of all things. And I mean all things: existence, meaning, morality, even that chair you're sitting on, which, by the way, you might want to check because existential crises tend to make people a little uncomfortable. So, when I hear the left moralizing about this or that, what I really hear is noise. Empty noise. Why? Because without God, without an eternal unchanging standard, everything they argue for is just an opinion. A loud, incessant, virtue-signaling opinion. I mean, why even bother getting upset about injustice if you deny that justice itself has any transcendent value? Let's put it this way. If there's no God, no divine logos, then logic and morality are just human conventions. But if that's the case, then why should I listen to your convention over mine? Because you shouted it louder? Because your social media following is bigger? Sorry, but no. That's not how truth works. Truth is eternal. It's objective. It's transcendent. And if you deny that, you're playing a game of mental gymnastics that'll leave you more twisted than a pretzel at Oktoberfest. So, to my fellow ortho bros and sisters, and to anyone willing to use their brain for a moment, remember, wokeness and nihilism are just different flavors of the same absurdity. They deny the foundation of reason, yet try to build entire moral frameworks on it. But without logos, without Christ, the whole thing collapses under its own weight. That's why the Russian Orthodox perspective cuts through the noise like a double-edged sword of reason and faith. We're not here for some relativistic game of your truth versus my truth. There's only the truth, and it's not a concept. It's a person. It's Christ, the eternal Logos. So next time you hear someone rambling about the latest woke cause or waxing philosophical about the meaninglessness of existence, just smile. Because in the end, their house of cards is built on sand. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather build on the Rock of Ages. Well, that's all for today, comrades. Until next time, may your logic be sound, your faith strong, and your woke Twitter feed, well, maybe just muted. Peace.